Neil Diamond, born on January 24, 1941, in Brooklyn, New York, carved his name into the fabric of American music with passion, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to his craft. Despite the hardships of growing up in a poor immigrant household, Neil's rise to fame is a testament to the power of perseverance. Raised by his Jewish immigrant parents, Akiba and Rose Diamond, who struggled to make ends meet, Neil witnessed firsthand the challenges of living in an overcrowded apartment where warmth and security were often in short supply. Yet, it was during these difficult years that Neil's soul was shaped. Amidst the cold walls of his Brooklyn home, he found solace in music, a refuge that would one day transform his life and the world. The power of music in early life. From an early age, music became Neil's escape from the harsh realities of his childhood. As a teenager, he was drawn to the sounds of the singing cowboys in Western films. Figures like Gene Autry and Roy Rogers captivated him, their songs offering both comfort and inspiration. It was in these moments, sitting alone in dark cinemas, that Neil discovered the power of a song to turn loneliness into something beautiful. Music became his voice in a world that often felt indifferent to his existence. His $9 guitar, a birthday gift from his parents, became a symbol of hope, a tool to craft his emotions into melodies, and later, his way to connect with the world. Struggles and determination, a journey to find his voice. Despite the love and sacrifice of his parents, Neil's early life was marred by challenges that shaped his resilience. He struggled with the instability of constantly moving, with never truly having a place to call home. These hardships fueled his determination to succeed, to carve out a better life for himself and his family. His teenage years were spent crafting poetry, capturing the turbulence of his emotions, and discovering his true voice through songwriting. By the age of 15, Neil's love for music became an obsession, and his guitar was the only constant in his life. It was during this time that he wrote his first song, Hear Them Bells, igniting his passion for songwriting that would soon define his legacy. From college to Tin Pan Alley, choosing music over medicine. In 1958, Neil Diamond entered New York University with a pre-med scholarship, studying to become a doctor. However, his heart was elsewhere. While his peers studied anatomy, Neil's thoughts were filled with melodies, and he couldn't shake the pull of his guitar. His desire to become a songwriter led him to the legendary Tin Pan Alley in Manhattan, where music was made and dreams were built. Armed with a guitar and a heart full of hope, Neil knocked on doors of music publishers, trying to get his music heard. His efforts were met with rejection after rejection. His songs were deemed too slow, too personal, and too raw for the mainstream industry, but Neil's determination never wavered. Each no only fueled his desire to be heard. A leap of faith, walking away from college. In 1960, Neil made a life-changing decision. He walked away from college just 10 credits shy of his degree, choosing instead to take a $50 per week job as a songwriter at Sunbeam Music Publishing. The choice was risky, one that filled his father with disappointment, but Neil knew deep down that his path lay in music. The next few years were filled with struggles. Neil wrote songs for little pay, surviving on coffee and the occasional sandwich. He wrote love songs, heartbreak songs, songs about places he'd never been, and emotions he understood all too well. But his songs were rejected for being too personal, too raw for an industry obsessed with the polished and the commercial. Yet, despite the rejections, Neil remained determined, knowing that each setback was just another step closer to success. The breakthrough, Cherry Cherry and the rise to fame. In 1966, after years of rejection and struggle, Neil's persistence finally paid off. Producer Jeff Barry and his partner Ellie Greenwich saw something special in Neil's music, and signed him to Bang Records. Cherry Cherry, his first major hit, exploded onto the airwaves, reaching number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. It sold over 1 million copies within weeks and launched Neil Diamond into the spotlight. For the first time, Neil wasn't invisible. His music resonated with the public, and he found himself touring the world, performing in front of thousands of fans. But with fame came sacrifices. The relentless touring schedule strained his personal life and led to the breakdown of his first marriage. Fame had come at a price, one that Neil would pay for years to come. The highs and lows of fame. By 1972, Neil Diamond was a global sensation, dominating both pop and adult contemporary charts. He sold millions of albums, performed to sold-out arenas, and became a household name. His wealth grew, and he owned a sprawling estate in Malibu. But fame, as Neil soon learned, was a double-edged sword. Behind the stage lights and accolades, he struggled with deep loneliness. He was surrounded by adoring fans, yet felt disconnected from the world around him. His first marriage to Jay Posner ended in 1969, and despite his best efforts to reconcile, he couldn't escape the pressures of fame. He remarried, but his second marriage to Marcia Murphy ended in divorce in 1994. Neil's success had cost him his family, and the regret weighed heavily on him. The struggles of fatherhood. Despite his success, Neil's relationship with his children was strained. His daughter Marjorie revealed that growing up, she barely knew her father. The tours, the recording sessions, the endless performances kept Neil away from home, and as a result, his daughters and sons saw him more in album covers than in person. Neil's life was consumed by his music, but the distance it created from his family was something he couldn't undo. He tried to make amends, flying his children to his concerts and writing songs as apologies, but time lost could never be reclaimed. The guilt and regret over his strained relationship with his children lingered, haunting him as much as his music brought him fame. Loss, regret, and reflection. In 2008, Neil Diamond faced another personal blow, the death of his beloved mother, Rose. She had been his rock throughout his struggles, the one who believed in him when no one else did. Her passing marked the end of an era for Neil, and he found himself retreating from the spotlight. The grief was overwhelming, and for weeks he couldn't bring himself to sing. Rose's death left a hole in his heart that he never fully healed. As he grew older, Neil continued to reflect on his life, the fame, the fortune, the millions of fans who sang his songs. All of it felt hollow in the face of the relationships he had lost and the family he couldn't hold together. Parkinson's diagnosis, a new challenge. In 2018, at the age of 77, Neil was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a condition that slowly robbed him of the physical ability to perform. The disease stole his rhythm, his balance, and his voice. For a performer, Parkinson's was the cruelest of fates. It took away the very essence of what made him Neil Diamond. After more than 50 years of performing, Neil made the heartbreaking decision to retire from the stage. It wasn't a choice he made lightly, but it was one he had to accept. Despite the physical limitations imposed by the disease, Neil found solace in his family and in his music, which continued to be a source of comfort. A legacy of music and love. Neil Diamond's life is more than just fame and fortune. It is the story of a man who turned his pain into art, whose music has inspired generations, and whose journey reminds us that success comes with its own set of struggles. Despite the highs and lows, the lost years, and the personal battles, Neil has found peace in the simple joys of life. His music continues to touch the hearts of millions, and his story serves as a reminder that it's not the fame or fortune that defines us, but the love we give and the legacy we leave behind.